Welcome to Walking Dead World Beyond. This is episode 9 of season 1, the penultimate episode, first part of the kind of 2-hour finale, which I think is just 2 episodes back to back, basically. I don't think it's like an extended, extra long story or anything. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of see how they're going to wrap up the entire season, and I imagine this particular episode is going to be a bit of like more setup for the grand finale. Coming off the big reveal at the end of the last episode with Huck. She's Elizabeth's daughter and kind of a spy for the CRM, which I didn't see coming. Just as I grow to really, really love her character, they do that, which is a bit rude. So we'll see what happens with that. Elton also found out that Hope killed his mum, so he's on a bit of a downer, but he's also gone off to join Silas because he fucked off to, I guess, keep everyone safe. Which is immediately spoiled by Elton leaving to join him, I guess, but it is what it is. And yeah, I guess we'll see where they take things next, but I really do think the show's picked up a lot since about the midway point of the season. It definitely was a slow burn, but I'm enjoying the show a lot, and I can't wait to see how they're going to end this first season. Obviously, it takes a while to like do a reaction and everything, so I don't quite know in terms of like when I get this uploaded when the next episode is going to be, the finale, as soon as possible for sure. But it may be like a day or two after I post this reaction that you're watching right now. But yeah, either way, very excited to see how they're going to continue on and see what they're going to do with this penultimate episode. So let's get into it.
Jennifer, it's gonna work. I'll make it work.
What?
Just one more time with the girl. Dad left us.
Oh. Oh no, an accident.
I'm bringing up the weather.
Are you trying to see how cold it is? So I picture Elton and Silas out there alone.
I'm worried, and I know you are too.
Of course I am.
I'm worried too.
I'm scared Elton's gonna freeze to death in this little suit.
So then why won't you talk about it?
Because
When do you believe in karma?
Since this flashback, I guess.
Isn't all of that in the file you got there?
Oh, is this how they met?
Huck, you don't have a doctorate in criminal psychology and a master's in behavioral psychology. Or do you? Will Campbell.
Huck.
You're going to be doing a battery of psychological
Oh,
tests.
Will.
What the hell? They're all caught in something.
Oh yeah. There's no point in having a long ass fucking stick if you're just gonna stand that close to them and do it. She's good at doing that. Ow. Better than a bite, I guess.
Felix, you good?
Aww. You are a little explorer. Oh dear, it's the angsty ripping of pages. I'm sure it's not that bad. This Silas gonna stumble across those pages and like keep them. They're too beautiful to throw away. Uh-oh. Aha! He's alive? What a shock. Look at the shock on my face.
Come on. I'll bite.
Wouldn't put it past you.
It's crazy how different you two are. It took you weeks what it took Hope months to get in training. When I was 16.
You two should stood up because you're so different.
Maybe your dad's whole situation isn't as bad as we think it is.
What makes you say that?
No, I'm just thinking.
Because I've been revealed to have another motive now. Uh-oh.
You and I are
Didn't realize Felix had the whole Winter Soldier thing going on.
Okay, so you can't stay, you can't go, you're miserable either way.
I really can't stay. You're miserable either way.
Just because someone saved your life doesn't mean you have to live the rest of it for them.
Deep.
The wind, it brought me to you. It's a sign I'm supposed to save you, so that's what I'm going to do.
The wind always wins.
What about Hope? Are you like her?
She was little. My mom has no excuse.
Well,
Oh, I knew he'd at least like
Alright,
partly
I'm not
understand it.
You're not really talking right now. This is just a stress reaction manifesting
blah,
itself.
blah, blah.
Oh,
What I think?
it's not a Walking Dead show unless someone hallucinates and goes crazy at some point. I was thinking it was weird.
Not scared.
He like told him everything all of a sudden, and that Percy wasn't explaining what actually happened for Tony and everything.
There's an alley on the other side. Come on.
We got this.
He doesn't want to climb because it's going to hurt.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Well.
It's me. What? Rose, can you go get dessert ready?
Me.
I'm going for you, so you don't have to worry about him. And maybe when I'm back, things can be different. Put your trust in other people.
And the first person he chooses to trust is Huck, and that's going to turn out very well, isn't it?
Look at me, Corduroy. I'm dying. No, you're not.
Well, no, you're not. You're
not
fake. Oh dear. Well, I guess you're food, Percy.
It's okay to walk away and save yourself.
No, I won't. I'm not her.
Hey, Elton. Listen to me.
Oh, he's such a good person. Oh, a leaf. Hello.
Look, you're not just the guy behind the camera anymore, Elton. You're part of it now.
You're an endling. See, this is interesting because this is like in his subconscious, so he's thinking this deep down.
To save other people down the line. Other people who can...
It's kind of like his dark side coming out, especially with that contrast in fucking coats.
There's a big, beautiful world waiting for you out there, Elton.
A world beyond.
Go, right? Be brave. Like she knew you could be.
It's like what Elizabeth was saying in the first one. I thought while he was busy daydreaming they were going to cut back, and they were like already halfway through one of Percy's legs. The true character development of this show is Elton's hair. Nah, I didn't think he'd be able to do it. Smack him with all those blimmin' cases. Absolute hero. You got a little
It's impossible for you to hike.
Yeah, it is.
You'll all have to carry me like a king.
You're coming with us.
No, he's gonna stay.
You are more than capable, Iris. You are.
Is she? Do you forget the bit where she fell into some trash a couple of episodes ago?
We got this.
She's thinking, oh, 3 down, 1 to go. Oh, she did, didn't she? You little bitch!
Look at how quickly she dropped Felix.
Huck doesn't want to leave Felix behind either.
She's
but
smelling
we
the
have
rat.
to do it.
Good.
What about that don't you get? Suddenly now she's untrustworthy because she's willing to make tough choices?
That's
Yes.
not what I'm saying.
Ever since I told you how Mom died, you've looked at me different.
Maybe you're projecting
I'm
that.
pretending it's been the same, but...
See, at this point, I'd be like, you know, on this entire journey, every decision we've made, every person we've trusted has been completely wrong. So you know what, Iris, you're probably right on this.
Maybe you just don't know me as well as you think you do.
Well, if you don't tell the truth about things, how the fuck are you expecting her to know you?
Were you gonna leave for Omaha?
He's just gonna drag us down. Let me grab my stuff.
It's all fallen into place. Why is she the asset then? Do they need her stink bombs? Taking you all that time to look in his pocket.
Give me a second, alright?
Just need to betray your trust in my own private space. She smelling the rat too? I hope so.
Hello, Felix?
Oh shit.
Elton?
Is that you?
Yes, me. I'm with her. You're awake? Look, I'm trying to get you help.
She's the one that shot me.
Yes!
Elton.
Who's Elton?
Any regrets about this?
None.
Give it a bit. I wondered what she was looking at that for earlier. Has she worked it out? Yeah.
Where's my gun?
Oh boy. Okay, okay. He's just vibing. Oh, well. But he's got the facial hair that says, I've been through some shit. No. Oh dear. That bodes well. Okay, another really good episode, some really cool setup I think for the final episode of the season, and there'll probably be even more setup there obviously for the second season. But yeah, kind of a lot of plot moving forward as well, a lot of nice focus on some characters. And the whole thing with Huck is tricky, because all the things I really ended up liking about her character were sort of kind of undone by the twist at the end of the last episode. And I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about her now. It's kind of sad after I like really fell in love with the character, then suddenly it's like, well, I'm not so sure now, which is kind of a shame. But I'm still enjoying the complexity behind her, and clearly she's doing some disagreeable stuff because, you know, she, I assume, murdered Tony as well as shot Percy, and therefore letting Silas take the blame for it. And that then led to Elton going off with it, and through Elton leaving, it kind of forced Hope, I think, to tell him the truth about his mother, and her and Huck had kind of talked about that when she opened up to her about it, and Huck was the one like, oh, you got to live with it, you got to live with it, you know, for the others. Ultimately, you know, she couldn't really do that because of the actions she'd set in motion by killing Tony in the first place, so it's an interesting spiral there. And then when she like slashed Felix's leg in this one, like, damn son, that's going to break him when he kind of realises what's happened with that. For a moment though, I thought they were doing, like, he was hiding that he'd been bitten. I was like, you can't be doing this shit to me, you can't pull that. Thankfully that's not the case, but it's still not ideal because Huck's being a bit mean and naughty. But at the same time, we don't really know what the end game is at the moment with her and Elizabeth, what the CRM's planning, why they want Hope, because I assume since Huck was so happy to leave with her, Hope is the asset, not Iris. Exactly why that is, we've yet to find out, so that'd be interesting for them to explore that. But yeah, we don't really know what their goal is yet, and maybe when we find that out, we're like, okay, you can kind of understand Huck's actions a bit more, she's fighting for the greater good, what do they want Hope for, and stuff like that. It probably all ties back into their dad and everything, and it's cool to kind of look back on Elizabeth's actions in like the premiere when she gave them the map, and I was like, that seems a bit weird, why would she just do that? But clearly it was part of her plan, so it wasn't as stupid as it appears to be at the time, for this seemingly very secretive woman. It was her plan to do that. And I don't know if Huck suffered in this one, or maybe it's just me because we now know the twist with her, but it just seemed like suddenly, because the reveal's out to the audience, it just seemed like Huck wasn't quite acting herself in front of the others, and was doing things that were a bit like, Huck wouldn't have done that, you know, in this episode if we still hadn't found out that twist about her yet. You know, I think a lot of characters kind of suffer with that, and the writers just end up writing them a bit differently, even when the other characters haven't found out these secrets about them yet. But maybe that was just me in my head, because we know what she's about now, or at least a part of what she's about. So maybe there's a bit of that going on. I'm not quite sure. But either way, I am very interested in seeing what the big plan is with that, what they want Hope for, how things are going to wrap up in terms of that, everyone's reactions to Huck's betrayal, and delving into maybe what happened with her dad and everything. There's clearly a lot more still to unpack there. I don't know if we're going to get all of that in the next episode, because that seems like a lot to fit in and tie up a lot of what this season's doing, potentially setting up the next season. So it could be something they'll save in future seasons, season. So we'll see what happens, but it was cool to get a bit more insight into that and to see Huck kind of playing all his different mind games. But I suppose they also wanted her to seem suspicious because Iris was kind of, might no suspicions, and Hope is definitely suspicious for sure because she kind of worked out and cracked the code and everything, which was very clever and very cool way of ending off the episode on a hopeful note. Haha. So I really like that because they set up a bit when Hope was kind of staring at the codes, and then they revisited it, and it turns out she'd actually worked it all out, got the code out of it, and now she's got a gun. So seemingly she's onto Huck's tail, which is really cool and shows how capable and smart Hope can be. When a lot of this season they've kind of been comparing, Hope and Iris, and Huck was even doing it in this episode to try and cause that distance between the sisters, obviously, to kind of separate them. So, Iris is the smart academic one, you're kind of the layabout who's not really following the rules, stuff like that. But then you get moments like this that really demonstrate how smart Hope can be, which we have obviously seen before, when she's building the stink bombs and stuff. So she's very capable, and I love that moment where she's she pieced it all together. Now she's kind of made that decision to take Huck away from everyone else to kind of keep them a bit more safe, because she knew that they were expendable. So that was really cool, and I guess she knows that she's not expendable, so she knows Huck, even if she's oh, I know your secret, Huck. Huck's not going to hurt her because, she's the asset. So very clever and sort of brave. We'll see how it pans out. A lot of the plans in this show don't particularly go very well, so we'll see. But I do kind of her going off on her own there on this mission. That could be quite dangerous, and it's an interesting parallel to, I think it was at the end of episode 2, which kind of walks off into the blaze. But obviously this time she's come a bit further into a character arc and stuff. So we'll see how that confrontation will go, and how close to her chest Hope will kind of play all those cards. But that was a really cool reveal at the end. I like that a lot. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But it was a good character moment for sure. And alongside that we had Iris not wanting to abandon Felix, which is very nice. She's definitely kind of developed a different moral compass, I guess, to the Iris we first met, who again was very much about the rules and sticking to it, and then she suddenly had a snap decision oh, Hope, we need to go and find Dad, we need to kind of get away from this. And we've seen a bit of recklessness there before, but also she's formed these attachments and bonds to people, and I think with her dad going away and everything, she's kind of yearning to keep anyone that she is now close to her, which is why she was so hurt by what Hope was kind of saying, oh no, I wasn't planning on telling you that I was going to go. But that was more so to create that distance so that Iris probably wouldn't follow her, because she wants to be alone with Huck to confront her. So lots of different kind of mind games going on there that I liked. And Felix has the potential to be an older brother to the two girls, so Iris wants to hold on to that. She's already lost Silas and Elton, they've already gone off. And yeah, I wonder what Silas is doing. I'm sure we'll catch up with him in the next one because we didn't see him here. But yeah, maybe he's just still walking down that road. Maybe he's doing a Forrest Gump and he just keeps running. Maybe that's going to be what happens, I don't know. I thought he was actually going to show up and save Elton from those walkers, but Elton fucking handled it like a champ. Man, I love that guy. So yeah, a few nice bits and pieces with Iris as well, even if I didn't completely buy Felix being oh, you're stronger now, Iris, you've come so far. It's I don't know. But there have been some development for all the kids, at least, but we're still getting, they can't take a walk down without falling over. So, long way to go, but we only have one more season to go after this, so I don't know how far they'll progress unless we time jump 25 years, I don't know. But still, nice moments with them, and flashbacks, seeing how Felix and Huck first met, seeing how Felix and Will first met, a bit of their relationship, and actually to see Will in person was really cool. And at the end, obviously in that post-credit scene, he was being chased off by, I assume, CRM guys. So shit's clearly gone down at that facility, and I assume we'll be getting a bit more of that in the finale. And actually seeing them arrive there, seeing what's going to happen with all of that, which is cool. But I liked that they took some time to kind of showcase Will and Felix and how their relationship was before this kicked off, and examining Felix's kind of complex he has about himself, and he wants to bear everyone's weight because he feels like he owes certain people, but over time, you know, he kind of has to learn, and Will wanted it for him, that's why he went in the first place, really. He needs to learn to, you know, share the burden with others and trust that other people can get their own jobs done as well and be safe, and he doesn't need to have all that pressure on himself. He can trust others as well, which is an interesting thing given that, you know, he's probably out of that whole group that he's travelling with right now, he's closest to Huck, but he doesn't really know her in a sense, which is going to be a bit of a heartbreak for him, I think. But that kind of led into his decision to stay behind when he got injured, thanks Huck, and telling Iris, you know, oh, you're capable, you can do this on your own, and kind of allowing her that room to develop on her own and not let him hold her back. I like that he's kind of accepting that the world isn't on his shoulders, it doesn't have to be. There is a world beyond that. So I really like that kind of character journey for Felix, and we'll see how that may affect his relationship with Will once they're hopefully reunited, because Will's not dead yet. Hopefully he will continue to not be dead. Hopefully all of them will continue to not be dead by the end of the next episode, but it is the finale, so I don't know if we're going to lose anyone big. Makes me nervous. But still, it was cool to kind of see a bit of their relationship in the flashback, see how they met, and get a sense of the character before we're introduced to him now with his angsty, I've seen shit facial hair, because clearly stuff's gone down with the CRM and he's being chased away. What's happening to the dad, Leo? We will have to kind of continue to explore, and hopefully we'll get some answers about that in the next one. But yeah, everything of that was cool. And then we had Elton's little side story, which I also really enjoyed, because Elton's the best. I like that we had him kind of finding Percy, like what are the odds, and how, I mean, I do think the you know, the papers blowing in the wind and that led him to Percy. I don't know how I feel about that. That seems a bit cheesy and, you know, Christmas movie-ish to me. But it's also in keeping with how hopeful the character Elton has been up to this point, and obviously he's taken a step back from that when he found out what happened to his mum. But it's following through on what she was saying, like the wind always wins, and that led him to Percy, and he'd just lost all that hope. Literally and metaphorically, I guess, because hope literally left him as well, or he left her. And yeah, the fact that he kind of lost all of that and seemingly lost all the meanings, we found out what happened to his mother and sister, and then he's kind of found a new way to be hopeful by finding Percy and making that his mission to save him, and then having these visions of Percy, I guess his subconscious and hallucinations. It was only a matter of time in a Walking Dead show that someone was going to have hallucinations of people like that. But it was an interesting insight into thoughts that Elton must push really far back, those kind of dark thoughts. Because obviously, if he's imagining that conversation, he is just kind of talking to himself, and those thoughts must be in him deep down somewhere, and that was coming out in kind of like a darker side, which was really interesting. And I like how they kind of used Percy as a means for that, to have that conversation, since, you know, he hasn't reunited with Silas or anything yet, so he had no one else to talk to really. But what he was saying, you know, I think he was quite shocked really by what his mum actually did, as opposed to what Hope did to his mum, which I thought was very interesting and speaks to Elton's awesome morals and just what a great person he seems to be. Seems like, you know, she was just a kid, my mum should have known better than to do what she did. So he's very understanding of Hope's situation, which I really, really loved and appreciated. And honestly, I assumed that would be his reaction. Obviously, he's going to be a bit upset about it, but he does understand that Hope was just a child and acting out of rage because she'd just literally seen her mother killed right in front of her by his mother. But, you know, his mother was also really scared and pregnant herself. So, you know, it's a very complicated situation, but I like that he wasn't just like, oh, Hope, you're the worst person in the world, you're a murderer, I never want to see your face again, go away. He's very understanding about it, which I love about Elton. He's a stand-up guy, and the fact that even when he was trying to convince himself to just leave Percy, you know, save himself, be safer by going off on his own instead of having Percy there, dragging him down, a nice parallel to what Felix was kind of going through his dilemma in this one, because he'd be slowing them down if he carried on walking with them. But even when he did try, you know, Elton couldn't do it and still went back to save him and took down those walkers, which was really cool and badass. I like him tying them up. I mean, one of them I feel like he just pushed over, and then it was just like, oh, I guess I'll stay here, which I thought was a bit strange. But then he took some out, so that was really cool. And I like the imagery of, you know, his iconic suit at this point. It's iconic, being like splattered in blood, and he got a bit of blood on his face and stuff. So just a bit of growth for like basically all the kids in this one, with the exception of Cyrus, because he wasn't in it. Just seeing how far they've come. So I really like that kind of little side story. And then Huck, you know, using the radio just as Elton had found it. That led Percy to conveniently wake up at the right time to kind of tell him the truth about Huck. So now he knows. I imagine that's going to be a good lead into them kind of all reuniting and finding out the truth and stuff. Since Hope already knows, maybe my voice, I'm just too excited. I can't cope. My voice couldn't cope with the excitement. Oh, it just went again. Anyway, maybe Elton will kind of maybe reunite with Silas and tell him, and then they'll find like Iris and stuff and tell them the truth. I don't know. But Elton still also has to deal with Percy, who's still not in a very, you know, in the best of shape. But it was cool that they could use him as a means of someone finding out about Huck, as opposed to Hope just finding out herself. So yeah, lots of interesting things being set up for the finale next, which I'm very excited to check out. So yeah, awesome episode, lots of interesting character stuff, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to wrap up this first season. You know, it, like I've said, it was a slow burn, but then I think it really kicked off for me personally with the Elton-centric episode 5, and since then I think it's just gone from strength to strength, really. It's been really, really great, and hopefully it will continue with that, you know, going into its second and final season as well. But for now, I'm hyped to see what they're going to do with the final episode of season 1 and how they'll set up next season as well. So yeah, another great one, and until my reaction to the finale, thanks for watching.